Many of us think that great communicators are the people who speak fluently, who are able to express their ideas. However, actually, the great communicators are the people who listen very well. This happens at our homes, at our schools, colleges, workplaces, everywhere. We don't listen to our friends. Our teachers don't listen to us. We don't listen to our teachers. There is so much of gap in communication. Sometimes the words are heard, but the emotions behind those words are ignored. So that's not right communication. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear children, welcome to a new episode on Sadhana World Foundation. As usual, we pick up something from our day-to-day lives and connect it with the wisdom which is embedded in our ancient texts. In our series of Campus to Karmabhoomi, we are bringing nuggets of wisdom and experiences which help our young people do well in their lives. So today's topic is all about listening. Sometimes people say that they are listening, they claim that they are listening, but they are not. At best, some words are getting registered when they are listening to you, but they are not listening fully. And especially in today's time, when all of us are in a big hurry, we simply don't pay attention enough and we don't pay deep attention to what's happening around us. When we are unable to understand what is being said, then naturally our actions are not complete. Let me bring up a story from the great epic Mahabharata. Of course, in our epics, there are millions of examples related to poor listening or good listening. But I will present just one from this great epic Mahabharata, where Yudhishthira and his brothers, the five Pandavas, when they were in the jungle for 14 long years, they have to naturally pass through long stretches of land. On one afternoon, when the Pandavas were walking, they were feeling thirsty. They took rest under a tree, and Yudhishthira told the youngest of their brothers, Sahadev, to go to a nearby stream and get some water. Sahadev looked around and found a pond. He tried to collect water from that pond, but something interesting happened there. He did not return back. Then the elder brother Nakul went. He did not come back. And this continued through the other two brothers, Arjun and Bhim. Nobody returned back. So Yudhishthira finally went there. And Yudhishthira found that all his four brothers were lying unconscious. Pretty much like Bhim would have seen three of his brothers lying unconscious, or Arjun would have found two of his brothers lying unconscious there. Yudhishthira looked around and he started collecting water. Suddenly he heard a voice. The voice was from a Yaksha, who is supposedly a demigod, and that voice says that this water belongs to me. If you have to take my water, then you should answer a few questions. Yudhishthira pauses and listens to the questions and answers. Of course, the questions were deep, and the conversation between Yaksha and Yudhishthira is very interesting. The point is not about the conversation. The point is about Yudhishthira's calmness. Despite seeing four of his brothers lying unconscious there, Yudhishthira's respect for the voice, Yudhishthira's ability to respond. It was not that Yudhishthira was more intelligent or more wise than Bhim or Arjun or Nakul or Sahadev. However, he chose to listen while the other brothers were in a hurry, like many of us are today. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear children, today with the amount of technology which surrounds us, the number of tools that are there around us, they take away so much of our mental bandwidth that we simply have lost the habit of listening and trying to understand what the other person is saying. And as a result, our conversations are not deep, we are not having complete story in our mind before we respond. We are always in a hurry. How often do we find that the person who is going to answer to us is already preparing answers in his or her head before we have even finished? So, to lead a very good life in this world, we need to be productive, we need to be efficient. The first thing that we need to do is to be good communicators, which means that we listen well, we understand the requirement well, and then we act. So then we don't have to engage in a very long conversation composed of small broken parts than being calm, listening to the whole thing, and then responding or taking an action. Very simple, but it is very difficult in today's time. I think it requires intentional effort and practice to listen very well. I look forward to our future conversations. Thank you very much.